Hey guys, it's your boy HarryWilmington here. Welcome to the Introvert Dating Success Show. And on today's show, I want to talk to you about the idea of emotional permanence. Honestly, is a rare word and phrasing that I just came across this past week as I was doing research. And although after reading it, I definitely know what it is, but I also recognize in researching that a lot of guys may not understand what emotional permanence is. And if you're having struggles in your relationship whereby, for example, when your woman is not around you, you're constantly wondering if she still has the same feelings for you, or if she's feeling angry towards you, if you're wondering if that means that she loves you anymore, then you may be lacking in emotional permanence. And so I'm going to talk about what that is, how to recognize in yourself whether you have it or not, and what you can do to be reassured that a woman does in fact love you, even if you're starting to feel signs that that's not there when that's not actually the case, all right? As always, for more of these shows, introvertdatingsuccess.com. Go there now to download a free copy of my best-selling ebook, No Girls For You, The Ultimate Guide to Losing the Girl of Your Dream, simply by signing up for my newsletter. And of course, check out my other various audio programs, ebooks, courses, and programs. Right now, I have several things that are discounted at the website as part of my 25 days of introvert dating advice and giving advice. So feel free to check that out at the website as well. And of course, if you have any questions you want answered on one of these shows, you can write to me at HarryWilmington@gmail.com. Also, you can show your support for the show by subscribing to my YouTube channel at youtube.com/HarryWilmington or sending me a Cash App donation at $HarryWilmington. So I came across this Reddit post that was talking about this. This woman posted this thing up where she was saying that she struggled with this idea of emotional permanence. So I was like, oh, I've never heard that phrase before. What the heck is emotional permanence? So I'll read through this and then I'll give my commentary and thoughts and feelings on how this can relate to you and your dating struggles, all right? So she says, I literally just discovered the term emotional permanence about 15 minutes ago, and it kind of blew my mind. I've always been told I, quote, take things too seriously and need reassurance a lot and read too much into things. And when I started reading about emotional permanence, specifically a lack thereof, it was like a bunch of puzzle pieces falling together for me. From my understanding, emotional permanence is similar to object permanence. Think of playing peekaboo with a baby. When you hide, they truly believe that you're gone, because they lack object permanence. If they do not see something, it does not exist. So in that same example, that's like, as a grown-up, for example, you recognize, okay, if I place my phone on this desk and then I go outside of my home and I drive around town, you have the assurance that your phone is still going to be on your desk when you get back. It doesn't go away just because you're no longer in the room, all right? So, but she's saying with babies, like, that's why the peekaboo game, you can go from a baby being really happy to see you to being really sad when you cover its eyes, and all of a sudden, in their head, you've gone away. Because if they can't see you directly, it means that you do not exist, all right? So that's what object permanence is. So then she says, similarly, emotional permanence means that if you do not actively see proof of or feel a particular emotion, you believe it does not exist. Some people manifest it like this. When they are happy, they can't really think of being sad. It doesn't exist to them. And then when they are sad, they cannot think of being happy. It doesn't exist to them. I understand this part, but it's not what I struggle with. So, and also, by the way, this came up on a forum on Reddit that was for bipolar people. So people that are bipolar, people that have depression, they have these incidents where, you know, they might, for example, go around a group of friends, and in that moment when they're with their friends, they're feeling loved, they're feeling cared for. But then they go back home, their friends aren't there, and all of a sudden now, because their friends aren't there to show them that they care and that they're loved, they can go into this thing of like, nobody cares about me, nobody really loves me, why doesn't anybody want to, help me out? And it's like, but you were just with your friends like 5 minutes ago. So that's clearly not accurate, but they're not able to take the emotions that their friends had and still believe that their friends still feel that way, even if their friends are not currently in their presence, all right? So continuing on, she says, a lack of emotional permanence can also manifest itself this way. If you do not actively see proof of an emotion, you believe it does not exist. For example, your significant other loves you, but you two get into a fight. In this fight, you are only seeing proof of anger from them. With normal people who have emotional permanence, they understand that anger and love can coexist. However, for someone lacking emotional permanence, if they do not see love, that means it is not there. So then she gives a personal example. She says, my boyfriend made a mean comment the other day when he was hungry and angry. Nothing too serious for any normal person. However, for me, I couldn't stop bawling. I felt like my entire relationship was falling apart, and I was begging God to make me good enough for him to love me. He already does love me, but because I couldn't see the love, it did not exist to me. If I don't see active proof, then it must not be there. Because of this, I probably come off as needy and clingy because I'm constantly searching for proof of emotions I want to be there, like love, affection, attraction, etc. Because if I don't see them at all times, then I can't seem to contemplate their existence, only the lack of them. And then she asked about if anybody else has this problem. So, why did I want to bring this up in this particular show? This idea of emotional permanence. Well, here's the thing. There are a lot of guys that write to me, and I do a lot of studying on people, and I coach guys, and I do my research. And there are many men that do certain actions in part because they do not believe that a woman really cares for them, especially if that woman is out of sight, out of mind. So this is why certain behaviors that guys do, they feel that they're justified in doing them because they're thinking, well, in order for this woman to like me, I must have to be there to show her all the time how much I care for her. And what they're thinking they're doing is showing love for her. But what they're actually doing is giving that love off all the time in the hopes that they're going to be able to get constant reassurance that she likes them by also getting that same love back. So for example, one of the things I talk about a lot on this program is this idea of when you take a woman on a date and you show her a good time, that you drop her off at home or you part ways at whatever place you guys went on a date at, and then you don't contact her for 4 days. And what I tell you guys is that a woman needs time to sit with the feelings that she got on that first date and really, assess herself, how she felt about you, how the date really went for her, if you guys connected on certain levels, et cetera, et cetera. But also, it's because when a woman is able to miss you, she's able to develop these feelings naturally for you. And I get a lot of pushback on that particular example of waiting 4 or 5 days, because guys will say, well, that's just a game, and if I like it right away, what's going on? But what they're really saying is that they want reassurance that she had a good time on the date, and that she's actually doing the work that she needs to be able to get feelings for them. And so a lot of times guys will think that in order to do that, they need to constantly be in front of women. They need to be texting her all the time. They need to be calling her all the time. They need to be going on dates with her 2, 3, 4, 5 days in a row for 7, 8, 9, 10 hours at a time. And what's really happening is that you're not trusting that when she's not in front of you, she's not thinking about you, or she's not feeling things for you, or she's not developing emotions for you, okay? And so this is where, if you're not aware of emotional permanence and the fact that when a woman's not in front of you, she's gonna feel what she's gonna feel. But if you're doing the things that you need to do on dates, if you're doing the things that you need to do in your relationship to make her feel cared for, to feel appreciated, to show her a good time, to make her feel special, then you have to trust that when she's at home by herself and you're not there, that she's still thinking about you and is still caring about you. And unfortunately, early on in the dating game, this is a really hard thing for a lot of guys to do, because the idea that we have an idea as men that in order to get the results that we want, we have to constantly be doing. We need to be constantly doing actions that will unequivocally give us results back that let us know that what we're doing is the right thing. And so as a guy, sometimes the hardest thing that you can do is A, nothing, and B, to trust that when you're not doing anything, she's still having the emotions go through her that she needs in order to eventually feel stronger feelings for you, okay? And unfortunately, because most guys aren't really aware of that and they think they got to do so much, a lot of guys don't ever get to the point where they're able to really get the woman to the point where she has full feelings, because he's constantly trying to get in the way as a means of trying to reassure himself subconsciously that she likes him, okay? And this is one of those things that takes a lot of practice. Like, it's not one of those things that you're gonna just get the concept of and then all of a sudden you're gonna be fine and be able to, from now on, just like, go on a date and be cool, okay? Because I'm gonna be honest, like, you're learning this concept today, this idea that she could possibly still be feeling things for you even when she's not in front of you. You're consciously hearing that, but subconsciously you might be thinking, but no, because like all these other things that I've read before and seen before say that I gotta be texting all the time, I gotta call all the time, I gotta constantly compliment her, because if I'm not doing those things, then she's not gonna be assured that I like her, and then she's not gonna give me the assurance that she likes me back. And this is one of those things where, unfortunately, the best way to get through it and to be able to start to have more trust in that process is to practice it. So here's what I want you to do. The next time you set up a date, whether it's from a person you meet through your friends or from an online date or whatever like that, go on the date, have a great time with the woman, and then, as hard as it's going to be, do all you can to avoid doing these things. Not texting her after the date to say you had a good time, and not being the one to reach out first for the first 4 days after your date. Now, if she reaches out to you, fantastic and great. Obviously, at that point, you're going to want to set up a second date. But even if she doesn't reach out, you wait 4 days before you contact her again. Now, why do I want you to do this? Because when you are trying to contact her so soon after a date, when you're trying to ask for that second date right away, that is your subconscious trying to say, I need more reassurance that this woman's liking me and building like for me. And the only way I'm going to get it is if I hear a yes from her for a date, if I'm constantly in front of her all the time, if we're spending as much time together as humanly possible. And I'm here to tell you, in my past, I was the same way. And those relationships and those dating situations burned out really quick because I was doing too much, too soon. It gives off the impression of being too needy and not being trusting of yourself, which if you're not trusting of yourself, a woman's going to start thinking, if he doesn't trust himself to be able to take some time away from me, why should I trust him in a relationship context, okay? But you need to give yourself, you need to rewire your brain and you need to retrain it to believe that just because you're not in front of her doesn't mean that she's not still feeling things for you. Just because you're not going on a date with her the very next day after the first date you had doesn't mean that she's not sitting at home wondering about you, talking to her girlfriends about you, and thinking about how her feelings are developing for you, okay? You need to have enough practice set in to where that becomes a natural thing. Now, I'm gonna be 40 next month. So at this point, I've dated enough to know that when I go out with a new woman for the first time, I know I ain't gotta contact her. I ain't got to call her. Heck, we could hook up that first night, and I know that doesn't mean I'm now obligated to call her the next day. If anything, it's even more to the point that I don't contact her the next day, and I give her time to just sit on what happened. But the point is, I've done this enough to where I know that if I take a girl out for a good time and just show her the best time she can possibly have, I trust that good time is going to be something she thinks about, even without me being in front of her. And so you need to get into the practice of that too. What you'll find is, as you're able to start really trusting her process more and what she's feeling versus having to try to get constant validation for what she's feeling, that the fact that you're giving her time to herself to think about those things, it's going to make her develop feelings for you faster. It's going to cause her to trust you more because you're not rushing in to try to make this a relationship. And as a result, she's going to actually be the one coming to you a lot faster, asking you how you feel about things and where you see this thing going. And it just works out better for you overall, okay? So yeah, in terms of emotional permanence, recognize that if you're doing all the things you need to do, the feelings that you leave her with are the feelings she's going to still have for you, even when you're not contacting her all the time. But those feelings can be lost. It's ironic how things work, where it's like, if you're chasing after something, the more you chase after it, the less it wants to be with you. But the more you give it space to grow on its own, the more it's going to want to come back to you and be in your presence. And the same is true here, okay? You constantly being in her face is not going to grow her emotions faster, but you trusting that you're doing the right stuff and that you're creating the right emotions for her to sit with are going to be things that allow you to get where you want to go with the woman a lot faster and more often, all right? So if you need help trying to be less anxious and more practice in how to start trusting that her emotional process is doing what it needs to and not having to constantly get reassurance from her that things are going well, that can be something that you need to break out of, and that's something that I can definitely help you with. You can go to introvertdatingsuccess.com and click on the coaching tab. We can set up a one-on-one phone consultation where we can talk about the things you need to do to really get yourself in a good headspace to be able to date the right way. Beyond that, you can obviously go to the website, check out my various programs, my eBooks, my audiobooks. You can get a free copy of my best-selling ebook for men, No Girls For You, The Ultimate Guide to Losing the Girl of Your Dreams, by signing up for my video coaching newsletter, all at the website, introvertdatingsuccess.com. Also, guys, show your support by subscribing to the YouTube channel at youtube.com/HarryWilmington. And also, feel free to send a donation towards a Cash App if you felt this information was helpful to you. Just Cash App me at $HarryWilmington. All amounts are appreciated because ultimately this show is about helping you be able to date as your introverted self while still getting your precious alone time. All right, guys, if you have any questions you want me to answer on one of these shows or just a question in general that you'd like me to help answer, write to me at HarryWilmington@gmail.com. We're doing one of these shows a day up until Christmas, so it's basically 25 days in a row, and then Christmas Day will be my 300th episode, all right? So be sure to stay tuned for that, and I will catch you guys on the next show, which will be tomorrow. I'm out. Peace.